Greetings and welcome. It's just going to take a little while for the stream to play catch up. Lighting's a bit harsh. Let's turn the light down a bit. There we go. Is that better? Marginally, still a little bit washed out. Let's make it a little bit darker. So today I just wanted to do a couple of things. Firstly was to talk about the CAD, using the drone and CAD. So I've got a little Baba drone, which is, it was a couple £100, so it wasn't cheap, but it was, you know, it's cheap for what it does. And what I use it for, really simply, I hover up to 50 meters above the site, and then I take a photograph of the Hope Garden, and then I use that as a basis for designing, because you can see what's going on. So it's great. So you can see here, this is the garden. Let me just, and this is in CAD, so I use it as a layer in CAD here, and then I can kind of create stuff on top of that. So what I want to do now is to get the latest photograph and to kind of just scale it, because no matter how you go to you take off from the same spot and you go to the same height, there's always a little bit out on the camera. So I am just adjusting it. I'm adjusting the photograph. I thought normally I try and do it in CAD, and it's okay. It's not that big a deal, but I just thought I'd try it in GIMP, which is the new image manipulation program like Photoshop, but for Linux, because I'm using Linux because I am. So this is what I was going to do, was to adjust it in my image editing software. So this is the latest photo, well, the latest drone photo I have from a few days ago, and all the soil's gone and most of the lime chippings have gone, and this is the one, this is the previous one. So it's just, they were just landscapers, we're just finishing off the work. So I select all, and then I, oh goodness me, select all, and then I copy. So I'm just copying the latest one, and I'm just going to paste it and then turn it into a new layer. So I've got two. So this is the old one, that's the new one. Old one, new one, old one, new one. And I'll just show a very handy little hint if you ever need to know, if you ever want to do this. What you do is to get things to scale into the right size, you make it 50% transparency, the layer on the top, and then you invert the colors. And what this does is, when it's solid grey, it means that the image is totally matched up. I'm wondering, you could probably do this in with AI. You could do it algorithmically. I'm sure there's a service somewhere that does it, but anyway, whatever. So what I'm going to do is just to set the opacity to 50% in the layers bar, and under colors I invert it. Colors, invert, and then make sure I've got the move tool, and then you can just use the cursor and you can zoom it around, and you can see it's not quite spot on, so it's slightly larger. So what I'm going to do is to transform it by scaling it. Okay, so I'm just going to scale it a tiny bit. And this is me, yeah, just I haven't done this before, so it's kind of interesting. Oh, that's a bit too much. And you grab the center, and then you can move it around. Not really getting on with it, to be honest. It's easier in, just as easy as doing it in CAD, to be honest. Oh, never mind. There is probably an easy way of doing it. But to be honest, oh good God. All right, there we go. I can't use the arrow key, so it's a bit rubbish. And it's miles out on some of the stuff, and it's snapping. It's not very good. Don't like it. No, it's a pain in the ass. No, don't like that. I don't like it at all. Never mind. It's worth a shot. So yeah, it's just me noodling around. To be honest, that'll do. Yeah, whatever. What the hell? And I think there's a rotation thing going on as well. I'm quite lucky because the rotate tool is quite nice because you can just do that with it, which is nice. Which I think is better. Okay, well, I'm going to rotate it, see what happens. Oh, good God. Don't. I'm a bit of a gnarly mood today, so okay, I actually just want to use the arrow keys. No, I don't want to zoom. I want to use the arrow keys to move it around. Okay, thank you. You know, that'll do, as I say, that'll do. So 100%, and then invert it back, and then I'm just going to save over the original, overwrite the original one, which is fine. It's cool. And then next time I go into CAD, I'll chuck this one down, close that, saving, open it again, and it'll just look for the CAD. As you can see, that's the latest one, and it's all right. It's a bit out. That's fine. At this stage, it's not that important. So the next thing, that's that done. So I've got the new CAD, the new drone photo in, fiddling around a little bit. What I have got to do is get all these plants. Let's get all these plants and put all these plants over here. Now, there's supposed to be some sort of compost bin here, so I've got to be a bit careful. Ooh, yeah. And might have to... Where the other one's gone? Oh, Devon's Swab apples there. That's cool. So, yeah, I'm thinking about putting stuff on the bank here. Yeah, blackberry's going to be not that bad. Oh, that's okay. So I've got a fair few plants. Now the plants are on Hope Garden plants, and this is a list. Yeah, really fast, isn't it? Yeah, really fast. So this is a list of all the plants. So hopegarden.uk/plants, and it gives you a list of all the plants, which is great. These are all the plants that I bought, and that Marianne, who I'm working with, has donated as well, and I bought some more actually. So I've got a fair old few here. Yeah, which is nice. So what I'll be doing is to move these over to on the CAD. I've got them all all down here, and then I shall move them around and put them in the right places over here, which is exciting. Blackberries, they're not going to grow in a bush like that. I'm going to grow blackberries up here as a trained on the posts. This is the canvas shelter, this area here, and then the posts will be down the side, and between the posts there'll be wire, so they'll be growing up the wire, train them up the wire, and that provides a bit of a protection from the next door plot as well. So yeah, and then lots of the shrubs. There's ground ivy, hemp agrimony. Crikey, I've got quite a few things kicking around. Oh, here we go, joster berries and things like that. So a lot of this stuff, I'm just going to drag it over. I'll pop on here. Oh God, it's not going to. Not a good day for. Yeah. Anyway, so a lot of the fruit bushes I'll put onto the earthen mounds, and they'll provide a bit of a. They won't shade out too much, and you can still access them from the path and from the track, and they'll be like a little hedgy sort of thing, but an edible hedgy thing is the idea. But I think there's going to be lots of other plants being bought as well, and that's the next thing that I need to do. So the next thing, apart from move the plants, I've got a native ground cover that I want to. Oh, that's the point. I can do that. Zoom in. Oh, native ground cover, and these plants in any kind of forest garden or wildlife garden, you really ought to be using. If you use native plants where you can, because invertebrates eat native plants. The larval forms of invertebrates eat native plants more than they do non-native plants. So if you want more bugs, insects in your garden, which you do, because more things will eat them, then you grow native plants where you can. So it's not to say, oh, you can't have any non-native plants. And obviously in a forest garden, the majority of the plants that you're growing they're non-native. They're like, apples and pears and black currants and things which aren't strictly native, but so long as there's a bulk of plants in the garden which are non-native, then that's good. So for the bulk of the plants, now I tend to do like any windbreaks I'll do as native plants, and any ground cover plants I'll do as native. So I made up a list, and I haven't really spent much time, as you can see, I haven't really spent much time working on this list, but it's just to go a reminder for myself to go, what will work as a ground cover, which is a native plant. And this is there's a dozen or so plants here. So my favourite ones are going to be sweet woodruff, wild strawberry, ground ivy. Yeah, lungwort's good actually. Silverweed I'm not sure about. I know it's a potentilla anserina with edible roots. Not terribly sure where it grows, how it grows. Tuberous comfrey, if I can get some bugle. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7. So I'm going to try out 7 different ground cover plants, and they're all like kind of slightly different conditions. Now what I have got to bear in mind, always bear in mind, is the site conditions. So if you know what the site is, then you have a better idea of what will grow there. The reason for doing the banks, firstly, is because the topsoil was scraped off, so it cleared the existing vegetation, and then secondly, it provides different growing mediums. So because it's in a bank, it's more free draining. The site itself is actually very damp, wet, because it's on a slope, and yeah, the water's coming that way down to the ditch at the bottom. So the site itself gets really wet, and it's heavy clay, so it holds the water. So you don't want to have things like rosemary or anything that likes having anything that likes to have it doesn't like to get its feet wet. So no rosemary there, but it can grow rosemary on the bank probably. So I'll be doing that. So any kind of herbs I'll put them up that way. So the other one. Oh, there is another one as well. Did I put bloody cranesbill? I have got bloody cranesbill. Oh, good. So geranium sanguineum, bloody cranesbill, and I'm going to put that in, oh, what the hell do I call it? Boundary plants, possibly, maybe not. God, the internet's a bit rubbish. Oh, I haven't got them. So anyway, there's some Geranium sanguineum, which is a native cranesbill, and that will, I'm going to go and find, I've got a list of different varieties to try out, so I'm going to put that down here, for example. And what's lovely about using CAD, once you've got it set up, and it's just like, it's nice to be able to do the design and everything here, but you can also do stuff like this. You can say how long is that? I know it's about 30 centimeters wide, and you go, that is 12 meters, and you go, right, that's cool. So 12 meters, and a plant every 30 centimeters is 36 plants. So I need 36 geraniums, and it's just a nice, easy way of calculating distances. And you do the same thing, for example. Oh, I do love this CAD program. It's called QCAD. What you can do is to freeze all layers. That gets rid of everything. And then if we just bring the drone photo back, it just makes it a bit easier to do. You say, what's this area? Oh, goodness me. What's this area? Come on then. What's this area here? And then you draw a shape round it. Okay. And then you make it into a, I can't remember what it's called. It's called a, you know what, I can't actually remember, polyline. Make it into a polyline, and that gives you the area treated as one object. That's 7 square meters. So then you go 7 square meters, and roughly you need about, it depends on the plant, depends upon how quickly you want it to grow, depends what mulch you've got, but roughly 3 to 5 plants per square meter. So that's 7 square meters, and that's 20 to, I don't know, 5, 7, 30, 20 to 35 plants. So you go, right, that's good. That's 25 ground ivy. So ground ivy should be a good one to grow there, actually. Or yeah, ground ivy would be good. And then the next one I'll do, could be here. It's actually quite nice. Quite a nice little exercise. So this would be quite a nice little spot for lungwort. It's actually quite a big spot. Lungwort's actually quite hard to get hold of. It's not really a native. It is down in southern England somewhere, I think. But again, you look at the area, you go, that's 20 square meters. 20 square meters times 3 plants, 60 plants or 100 plants, and then that's like £3 a plant. That's 300 quid just for that area. So it gets very expensive very quickly. So what I would do is, if you can buy plug plants, which are like little tiny teeny ones, which is great, and they're much cheaper. But then that's still that's still 100 quid, or just for that area alone, just in ground cover plants. So yeah, it's kind of working out all the different sizes, and I might as well yeah, I'll go through and do all the different sizes. Oh, and then I've got all the banks to do too, so you can see how quickly this will add up. Now the problem is that there aren't that many suppliers. There are I can't think of any native plant suppliers in Ceredigion. No, Ceredigion is not particularly massively populated. There's a really good supplier down in Swansea of native plants called Celtic Wildflowers. They're great. But they don't do plugs, or they do big plugs, and they're quite relatively expensive. And there's only one that I kind of know of. What's it called? British Wildflower Plants. British Wildflower. Can't remember what the website is. British Wildflower Plants, and they do plugs. So yeah, but then have a quick look here, and you say I want to buy ground ivy, but then these are grown in England, so they're not native, but then they're more native than not having any native plants at all. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, ground ivy. So there we go. Sold out. Sold out. Which is a pain, but you know, it's what's going to happen. And it is native, so I have got places where obviously you need to ask permission for somebody if you're going to dig up any. You can't dig up plants without someone's permission off their land. But there are places that I can get hold of it and things. So that's Spain. Bugle's a great one. But then you could spend many happy hours. I just got an idea that it's the wrong time in the season. I really ideally ought to be planting this out. Sold out. Plugs. I really want to be doing this. This is what I want to be doing last autumn, but I can't do it because I didn't know what the sizes would be here. So I think just say, okay, well the garden needs to be ready by June, but that doesn't mean I can get some plants and then propagate stuff, and I can sort something out. Anyway, there we go. So that's what I shall be doing over the next couple of weeks, is to get is to measure up all these sizes of the mounds and the different areas, and kind of figure out which plants to put in where. Yeah, there we go. Lovely job, and thank you for watching. If indeed anyone does actually watch any of these at all,